Plastic pollution is the accumulation of synthetic plastic products to the natural environment, and they create problems for wildlife and their habitats, as well as for human populations. By the end of the 20th century, plastics had been found to be persistent polluters of many environmental niches, from on top of the Mount Everest to the bottom of the ocean. Whether being mistaken for food by animals, or flooding low-lying areas by clogging drainage systems, or simply causing significant aesthetic blight, plastics have attracted increasing attraction as a large-scale pollutant. This is Ian Kristoffer Dela Cruz. I am a BSED Social Studies major student, and today we're going to dive deep on the effects of this environmental problem to the different spheres of the Earth, and to know more how grave this environmental problem is. Plastics is a polymeric material that is a material whose molecules are very large and often resembling long chains made up of seemingly endless series of interconnected chains. Today, however, the average consumer comes into daily contact with all kinds of plastic materials that have been developed specifically to defeat natural decay processes. Since synthetic plastics are largely non-biodegradable, they tend to persist in natural environments. There are a lot of population centers that generates the most litter, and the causes and effects of this environmental problem, it's just truly worldwide. Humans are surrounded by plastics. Much of our furniture, clothing, electronics, and food packaging is made from it. Over the past decades, natural materials used in manufacturing such as papers, glass, and cotton have been replaced by plastics. We know that this ubiquitous use of plastics had led to extreme plastic pollution of our environment. Plastics may affect our health via three pathways. We eat, drink, and breathe microplastics every day. These small plastic particles may harm our health once they have entered our bodies. Plastic products contain chemical additives. A number of these chemicals have been associated with serious health problems such as hormone-related cancers, infertility, and neurodevelopment disorders like ADHD and autism. When plastic and microplastics end up in the environment, they attract microorganisms such as harmful bacteria or pathogens. If microplastics containing these pathogens enter our body, they may increase the risk of infection. The average person in a modern society breathes in and drinks hundreds of tiny particles of plastics every day. Plastics have been without a doubt a benefit to mankind, but like any other benefits of an industrial society, our over-reliance is harming both the human race and the natural world. Soon, if not already, the weight of all the plastic in the world's ocean will weigh more than all of the ocean's fish. Much of this plastic is in the fish themselves. Turtles and other marine animals, and especially seabirds, mistake plastic for food. It is not digestible, of course, but it gives the animal the sensation of being full, so the animal then starves to death. At least 1 million seabirds and 100,000 marine animals die every year from encountering plastic. Microplastics in the deep sea eventually accumulate toxins on their surface. These toxin-covered plastics is then eaten by the smallest marine life, which causes it to enter the food chain, becoming consumed by larger marine animals and subsequently people. In our oceans, which provide the largest natural carbon sink for greenhouse gases. Plastics leaves a deadly legacy. It directly chokes and smothers a host of marine animals and habitats and can take hundreds of years to break down. Speaking of marine plastics, plastic litter and microplastics can be moved around within the ocean by currents. This movement can cause plastics to enter marine protected areas and reach even the most remote waters of the ocean. Alarmingly, at least 8 million tons of discarded plastics also enters our ocean each year, and plastic pollution at sea is on the course to double by 2030. Plastics have been found to be the deepest place on Earth, in the Mariana Trench, nearly 11 kilometers below sea level. Plastic does not always float on the surface. It can also sink directly to the seafloor, become caught up in underwater avalanches, and mix with sediment flowing down submarine canyons. Plastic that reaches into the deep sea can end up buried in seafloor sediments in areas that are hotspots for marine life. Plastic debris makes its way into the ocean because the great majority of it on land is littered or thrown into landfill without adequate safeguards. It is impossible to picture the amount of plastic waste we dump into the environment in even a single day. Plastic bags and food wrappers and other food-related items such as lids, straws, cups, plastic utensils, and plates makes up the largest share of the rest. Plastic pollutes the surface world beyond just being littered. In the process of baking it, or when the chemicals used to make it seep out, plastics releases toxins into the environment. Plastics are lightweight, durable, inexpensive, relatively easy to manufacture, and produced from common materials. Almost all plastic is made starting with petroleum as the basic ingredient. There are at least 10 kinds of plastic in common use, and many more specialty types. The way each is made or the additives included in the process will determine its properties such as flexibility and durability. Microscopic particles of broken down plastic can float in the air like dust and be inhaled. Because of the world's growing production of plastics, about 100 million tons annually, it's not just clogging landfill sites and threatening our oceans and marine lives, it's accelerating climate change. So, how is plastic implicated in climate change? Almost all plastic is derived from materials made from fossil fuels. The process of extracting and transporting those fuels, then manufacturing plastics, creates billions of tons of greenhouse gases. For example, 4% of the world's annual petroleum production is diverted to making plastic, and another 4% gets burned in the refining process. Globally, researchers estimated that production and incineration of plastic will pump more than 850 million tons of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. By the year 2050, those emissions could rise to 2.8 billion tons. As it does, sunlight heat causes the plastic to release powerful greenhouse gases, leading to an alarming feedback loop. As our climate changes, the planet gets hotter. The plastic breaks down into more methane and ethylene, increasing the rate of climate change, and so perpetuating the cycle. durable, and cheap. Plastic is everywhere and everyone used it. Now I know all too well, the impacts are way more sinister than anyone first thought. Plastic is one of the most persistent pollutants on Earth, and it is made to last. And it does, often for 400 years give or take. At every step in its life cycle, even long after it has been discarded, plastic generates biospherical, hydrospherical, geospherical, and atmospherical problems that contributes to the destruction of this very world.